They say the NFL season is hard. Like, it's really, really hard to win. And sometimes I can't help but feel like that excuse can only go so far. Because we have seen teams eventually, surpass that the season is hard. And not only do they win, but they win rings. While other teams, they just become the Arizona Cardinals. Hey everybody, I'm Cortez and I'm a critic, and welcome back. We are continuing our 2025 NFL recap, and we are now in the NFC West talking about the Arizona Cardinals. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, they are stuck in their own ways. And I have the proof. Okay, I addressed it earlier in the video about that there are certain teams that whatever happened, they just never ever get better. And when they do, it's like, oh, look, a unicorn, and then it's gone. And the Arizona Cardinals is a team that, very much like the Browns, that I have a soft spot. I do root for underdog teams. And when it comes to the NFL, besides my favorite team, I do have a soft spot of the underdog teams. Like the Jaguars, sometimes the Raiders, sometimes, the Bengals, and sometimes the Jets. But I think that was just food poisoning. So when it comes to the Cardinals, everyone in the division went to the playoffs but them. And like I said in past videos, Murray is gone. So your first pick you got is gone. Yep. Also, you got, remember Josh Rosen back in the day. And he's long gone. And now you are here sitting at number 3 in the draft, and I can't help but feel like the quarterback is not in the card, at least not in this class. Maybe next year's class, but also I believe you need to give Jacoby Brissett a chance. Let's just, give him a chance, see what he can do. But I did give you a high ceiling of a 9-8 season. For some reason, I felt like Kyle Murray, since he was injured the year before, he will come in and the system would sink and Harrison will have a rebound year and everything will work out fine. I was wrong! And then at worst case, I said, well, maybe it doesn't work out right too well, but they'll still be competitive. So I said a 7-10. You went 3-14. And I cannot help how much of it was just incompetence, inadequacies, poor play calling, maturity. I don't know what it was. But there are some major flaws in the Cardinals that I just feel like you guys have tried season in and season out. But for whatever reason, you guys can't get it. And I feel like that is something more front office than any coach can fix. There's only so many coaches that can take C-, B+, and make them into A+, B+ level players with a system and the scheme to work. It's very hard. And the Cardinals, I feel like they must have almost grade A ingredients, players, talent, and just as equal of a head coach to match it, or else it doesn't work. So let's talk about your best game. The best game took place week 9 versus the Dallas Cowboys. Now, it was week 9, both you Cowboys and Cardinals were coming in trying to find your footing. It's funny because the Cowboys, even though they didn't make the playoffs, they looked like a much more competent team than the Arizona Cardinals was. But this was the game that I felt like, in my humble opinion, made everyone believe we need to let Jacoby Brissett just ride out the season. We just need him to ride out the season and see where it goes. Granted, the Cowboys had no defense. You can't really say they played against a good defense. They had no defense, so shut up. The only thing that made this great was that it was a game that, at brief moments, you showed this is what the Cardinals could be. You know, competent quarterback play, decent rushing attack, your rookie wide receiver finally stepping up to become what he was. You know, at least I hope so, which we'll get to that at the end of the video. And the defense doing a solid job against a Dak Prescott Cowboy that is 99% offense, and hopefully the defense can get at least one punt in there to salvage the game. But this was a game that really felt like the Cardinals, you know, maybe five. I mean, granted, 3 turnovers by Cowboys kind of helped out too, but still, this was a game that I think Cardinals fans kind of felt good. Now, 3-5 is still 3-5. I mean, this was your last win for the remainder of the year. So think about that. This was your guys' last win in the entire rest of the season. So, but we can cheer. We can surprise ourselves. We can cheer. We can say, hey, we won on the road. Which is really kind of sad because I never count the first 4 games of the year, and you guys started off 2-0, beating the Panthers and the Saints, who at the end of the season both look way more competent than they were the first month of the season, which is why I don't count the first 4 games of the season, because those first 4 games, you don't know what kind of team they are. Plus, both of them got their quarterback situation kind of salvaged at the very end of the year, so yeah. But yeah, that was your guys' best game and your last game, and was the only game I could really count because I don't count the first 4 games. Now your worst game, and this is a lovely case of pick one. But for the Arizona Cardinals, the fans out there of Arizona, you know what game I'm going to mention. You know. Week 5 versus Tennessee. Now, I'll give you guys a few seconds to realize 22-21. No. You have to watch the highlights. You have to watch how the Cardinals shot themselves in the foot over and over again. There was a big, possibly 65+ yard run by the running back, Derek Cotto, and he dropped the ball on the goal line. We all love those plays when you're in the NFL and you're still making boneheaded mistakes like that. Fundamentals. And then there was a fumble where it looked like a game of the little giants, where basically no grown man can grab the football as it bounced into it, leading to a Tennessee score. Thank you. A game that should have been a Cardinals confident blowout victory for them against Tennessee became literally America's funniest home video in the sports category. And the worst part about it was, 1, it gave Tennessee its first win of the year, so congratulations. 2, there was not amount of victory, there was not amount of anything that could take away the negativity and just the embarrassment of it. Just the of it. And granted, I didn't watch the game, I just watched the highlights like most of us do. But when they talk about the Tennessee win, this was very much like, I don't think it was a Tennessee win as much as it was a Cardinal giveaway. So yeah, that is, guys, your worst game. When you look at the stats does not tell. This was a game on plays that you have to see, because there's no stats that can justify what that player did and what happened there and what this and that. No. This was an SNL skit, slapstick comedy. That's what this game was. And to see it happen in the NFL, I mean, I can see it in high school. I'll even go as far as see it in college. But to see the NFL and the way it was, it just feels like you're professional, But sometimes you just have, blips in judgment. And sometimes you forget the fundamentals. That was kind of funny, and not in a mean way, but Mercado, he is actually a part of the Kansas City Chiefs. Not saying that had anything to do with his decision, but he's no longer on the Cardinals, so I guess he has a better chance to possibly get a ring with the Chiefs than does with the Cardinals, as Tyler Algier go join the Cardinals and Connor stays with the Cardinals. But yeah, this was a bad game. More on the how it happened than the scoreboard. So it's like solving a math problem when showing your work tells you the real story. So yeah, MVP. MVP, I'm giving it to the one man that I can't help but feel like, I know the Cardinals will never do this, but I'm telling you, he has such value, and that is Trey McBride, the tight end. He is the Cardinals' MVP. He has 100% been the guy, and this is the part where I'm talking about their pick in Marvin Harrison Jr. He was the top tier wide receiver in his draft class, but I felt like every receiver that was drafted has producing better than him. And here is a concern that I have with the Cardinals. Now, granted, he did miss games. But even then, a top tier number one receiver is supposed to be so talented enough to potentially overcome that. Now, granted, I do believe that a good receiver and a quarterback is chemistry among each other. But I do believe a good wide receiver can make a quarterback better. I've always taught my young men when it comes to when they play wide receiver is that the quarterback is never going to throw you a perfect ball. So don't come to the sideline and tell me, well, coach, the quarterback didn't throw a perfect ball. They're not going to throw you a perfect ball. When I played football, the quarterback never really threw me a perfect ball. And when he did, by God, it was one of the things where it's like, I better catch it because if I drop it, I'll never get it again. Okay? So you have to catch bad throws. That's what makes a wide receiver great. All right? You're never going to get a perfect ball because that's on you. So McBride, he had 126 receptions for about 169 targets, leading to about 1,200 yards and 11 touchdowns. Wilson, the number two. Michael Wilson was number 2. He was a 1,000-yard receiver on 78 receptions and 7 touchdowns. But then number 3 comes to Harrison Jr., who had 41 receptions in 12 games and just over 600 yards. Now, granted, yes, he did miss games. He did miss 5 games. But 41 receptions in 12 games doesn't really scream number one receiver. So, this is a first-round pick. That's why I said the Cardinals may never do this, but if they were to trade McBride, you can probably get maybe a first and a second for him, or a first and a third. He is that talented, and I guarantee a team will probably chip out for him. But the point I'm saying is the Cardinals draft history has been terrible. And that will lead to the segue to, well, let's go with the grade first. Grade for the Cardinals, an F. Everything was an F. It felt like the Kyle Murray injury, the Kyle Murray saga, the Kyle Murray everything just felt like has never been right with the Cardinals. Kind of in a weird way they wanted to justify get rid of him, and they did. They did like what the Dolphins did with Tua. They just said, screw it, get out. But now they come in here with Jacoby Brissett, which, granted, hopefully he does something, but the Cardinals are still not even, I don't think the Cardinals have even a 5-year plan, let alone a 10-year plan for the future. And I'm picking at number 3. This is the part where I feel like at number 3, they have the chance to make things right. But here's my thing at number 3. I think they need to go defense. You are with the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Niners. You need to get after the quarterback. And the Cardinals have not been able to draft, not pick up, draft a pass rusher in probably 5 or 6 draft classes. When you look at the history of the Cardinals, Josh Sweat had 12 sacks last year, but he was a Philadelphia draft pick. J.J. Watt in 2022, his last year in the NFL, he had 12.5 sacks. The Cardinals, every player that's meant to be a pass rusher has not had no more than 6 sacks a season. Yes, they got Sweat, and yes, they're happy to have him, but I'm talking about the Cardinals themselves. They have not been able to draft a pass rusher from their own staff of draft analysts and draft capital. They have not been able to do it. They've been able to pick it up after someone else's, like a hand-me-down, but they have not been able to find the option, and they have tried. So have they tried. I understand there's some mock draft talking about different things, but I'm going to go full-blown at number 3. Get yourself a pass rusher, Arizona Cardinals. And quite frankly, I have no real order, and some of them may surprise you. So in no real order, we're just going to go with the top 3 that I think they should get. So at number 3 in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals could select Ruben Bain, defensive end, Miami. Yes, I know he has T-Rex arms apparently, and I know he's short, but I'm telling you that motor, that tenacity, pair him up with Sweat, gives a 1-2 punch. He has proven to go against long-armed offensive tackles and show great promise. I can't help but feel like at number 3, you need to make a splash. You cannot wait for potentially a second round to make up for a first round. If you get a pass rusher, it makes all the defensive players better. It helps the secondary out with coverage if a guy can get there. Get Ruben Bain. If you don't get Ruben Bain, fine. With the 3rd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals could select David Bailey, edge, Texas Tech. You want an edge rusher with long arm and able to be athletic and crazy? Get Bailey at number 3, because I guarantee you these guys will be there at number 3. Now, there's one player that I'm going to say he could fall out because of one Ohio State player that's promising, and that's Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles' draft combine was so great that I can't help but consider, what if the Jets go with the other Ohio State linebacker and Sonny Styles, who's more versatile, then go with the other one. And if that were to happen, Arizona Cardinals with a 3rd overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, I advise you to get Arvell Reese, edge linebacker, Ohio State. Okay? I know at number 3, but if somehow I feel like the Jets go with Sonny Styles instead of everyone kept saying Reese, and all that, but I'm telling you, if the Jets somehow go with a more versatile linebacker who had a killer combine, who I feel like he drops back from a top 15 to potentially a top 10 and maybe in a top 5. He could be as high as 5th, probably by the Giants or the Titans. Then yes, but I'm telling you, for the Cardinals' sake, you need to get a pass rusher. Sack the quarterbacks, help the secondary out. I know there are talks about potentially getting offensive linemen, but I am telling you right now, I am really, really worried because you guys have not been hitting home runs, not even doubles, on getting pass rushers for the Cardinals. You guys have not. So I am begging for the Cardinals, get a pass rusher. There's a lot of big time ones, and you're picking number 3. Make the right decision. Or not. But I'm just saying, you guys have not had success drafting players to become sack masters. You have not. And Hassan Reddick took forever to get going, right? So that's the Arizona Cardinals. We're continuing down the NFC West. We'll go to the team that did very well. And they happen to have a player come from my local ass. We will talk about the San Francisco 49ers as they have Mike Evans. Yes, that's going to be a hard Band-Aid to rip off, but it happened. It happened. Hopefully his hamstring stays healthy. Seriously, I hope to God he stays healthy. But until next time, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you so very much for watching.